You're on.
So now you have to wait for my mother. So this is how we start all our live videos. We can't start until we have sound check.
Yep.
So we have to have sound check. And every time we're here, it gets messed up. So we give us a second.
And I gotta,
Let's check.
yep. Right on.
Welcome everybody. Master Spots Facebook Live.
Oh, there we go.
Are we on?
Yes.
So can we get a sound check? And we need someone to say yes, but I can't see the screen. It's always fun in the beginning. It's always an adventure. Sound check? Anyway. Someone say yes. You can talk.
Your mom is on.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. All right. Sound check. Anyone?
It says it's not on.
Okay. Bring it in. Bring it in a little bit. Can we bring it in a little bit? All right. So, welcome everybody. Master Spots Facebook Live. I think you can hear us now. I hope it's loud enough. If someone can confirm that, that would be absolutely fantastic. We've got with us a special guest. There's lots of specialness going on here. We have Ben Hoffman, 7-time Ironman champion.
That's right. Yeah, you'd call me a specialist at triathlon. Actually,
You are. He is special, very special. And of course, Dr. Hugh DeCelli. So we've got a fun evening tonight. We are actually on location in Fort Wayne. I speak for myself, and I'm sure that everyone will agree. It's wonderful to be here. It's wonderful to be out of our out of our warehouse and out and about and trying to get back to normal. This is the first sort of normal thing there's been in the last 6 months. Anyone? Does that sound okay?
Sound is weak and a little echoey.
I don't think that's going to get better.
Yeah, we're just going
It's
to
not
do
gonna
our
get
best
better.
here.
We're going to do our best. It's alive.
Trying to speak out.
Yep, we're going to try to speak a little bit louder.
And then we've got Mike. Mike, we're live.
Oh, sorry.
So, no, you come on over. No, you're already in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mike.
I didn't know you were starting. So I'm going to lean in so everyone can hear. So you always hear us refer to the famous, very handsome Mike Wright. This is him in the flesh. He is the reason that you have to listen to me every other Wednesday.
I apologize for that.
So thank you again. Don't flinch. It's all right. You nervous?
No.
All right. Good. So we're glad to have Mike here. He's going to make a little cameo. We always refer to him, and you may remember him. He was the swimmer in the big one, the How to Swim in a Swim Spot. That's the kid.
One of your very first lives.
Absolutely.
They've upgraded to this guy now, so.
He is an amazing swimmer. He is an amazing swimmer. So
Wait, you're talking about me?
we're talking about you. Absolutely. So we're gonna get into.
I bail?
You can bail if you want.
See you, everybody.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. All right, so we've got questions. It's going to be a little challenging. We're watching Mary's phone so we can see the questions.
Yes.
I'm trying to.
And we're still going to try to project. We're trying with the volume, but it's a big room.
It's a gigantic room.
Yeah.
All right. So this is Ben's first time here at the factory, which is a lot to look in. So my first question for you, sir. Are you ready?
Ready.
After touring the Master Spots factory today, what were your impressions?
Wow, I mean, that's a great question. There was a lot of impressions. I would say I was absolutely blown away by the facility itself. I mean, it's an enormous place. There's a lot going on here. And yeah, just I guess the level of production was something I didn't totally understand. But yeah, I mean, one thing that really also stuck out to me was just the quality of the production, I guess, you know, the dedication of the staff that was out there and the sort of, just real obvious attention to detail in every step of the process. But it was really cool to walk through on the factory floor and see it literally from start to finish. You know, watch the vacuum mold come together. That was really cool.
It is really cool to watch.
Everyone's the mold as well was really neat. But yeah, just I guess the other thing that I kind of felt was, and this is something I learned last year at the dealer summit when I got to hang out with everybody, is it's a real family here and everybody is passionate about what they're doing. And that really comes through, obviously, in the products, but just the family feel of the whole place.
Cool. We are absolutely thrilled that you were able to come in. And what we did was we obviously wanted Ben to come and check the place out. We did a little testing. I can't say anything really, but we did a little testing on some prototype stuff, and it was awesome. So I'm gonna put a teaser out. We have changed the face of swim spas many times. and we're going to do it again. So stand by for that. All right, and that's all I'm going to say. So one of the things, actually, something you said made me think of this. If you have never, obviously, if you've never been here, you've never seen the production. If you go on how it's made on YouTube, look up Master Spas how it's made. You can actually see a lot of what Ben saw here today, and the video is absolutely awesome.
Really awesome. Yeah,
And you
it's
get to
really
see it
impressive.
all
Yeah.
over. All right. So, what's next?
We're gonna ask Ben some questions.
Are you ready for
We're
it?
gonna try to get some of the questions that are coming in for either Ben or I or Ben Hoffman. So one of the first questions that we want to ask is, how have you used your H2X Challenger, and I believe you have the Challenger 15, in life as a new dad, and maybe even in teaching Josie how to swim?
Well, yeah, so we're really fortunate to have the swim spot right at our house in Tucson, and it's something that we use almost on a daily basis, whether it's for me doing a swim workout. Typically for me, these are like more of the longer, continuous sort of aerobic swims that I'm doing in the weekly cycle that I have. But then, in terms of the way that we use it as a family, I mean, often we go out there just to relax in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And we've been obviously taking Josie out there. One of the things that happened with the pandemic was we had actually had swim lessons scheduled for her, but we weren't able to carry through with those. So we've kind of taken it upon ourselves, and we're lucky to have that in the backyard so we can get her in. And she loves the water. She loves to splash around, and we'll take her up near the jets, and she actually kind of starts that swimming motion with her arms, so it's pretty fun. But it's just a great place for us to kind of come together as a family, relax a little bit. I use it obviously to train all the time as well.
Awesome, very cool.
Actually,
So-
that leads
It
really
does
nicely
sort of lead
into
right
your
into
answer.
our next question. It's along the same way. Specifically, how have you used the H2X Challenger, your swim spot, during the pandemic? So every other pool is closed. What do you do? I'm still talking over you. I'm like, so pro athlete, his livelihood, his life, his lifestyle, all depends on him training at all times. Every pool gets shut down. What do you do?
Well, for me, I actually just went out into my backyard and kept swimming because I'm one of the fortunate few that has a spa right there, to turn to, and it was. I mean, it was sort of fortuitous, incredibly lucky in a way, but right away, right off the bat, all the pools in Arizona closed down. Obviously, the master's swim program that I was part of, they canceled their swim classes that they were having. All of the group meetings obviously weren't going on, so I was able to just jump in, and what I did was I kind of kept it realistic right off the bat because I knew that I didn't know really where it was going to go, and so I just sort of said my outside goal is to swim 30 to 40 minutes a day. Just get in there and do a continuous swim, and that's what I did right off the bat. I just jumped in it every single day, and I knocked out 30 to 40 minutes. Threw the headphones in, threw the snorkel on sometimes, and just kind of kept that feel for the water. And I can say that it was pretty incredible actually. When I did have the opportunity to go back to a pool, how amazing the translation was. I was quite surprised because it's definitely a different swim experience, and to get back in the pool and see that I really hadn't lost much of anything, and in fact, I would say it gave me an opportunity to work on some of my weaknesses when it came to some imbalances in the stroke. I just think that in that environment, especially with the mirrors on the bottom of the pool, I was able to really hone in on some of those technique things, and I could see that translate to maintaining good speed and good pace in the pool.
Right on.
Awesome.
So when you go to a pool, there's always, any of our swimmers out there, this, there's always a creepy guy in the locker room. So there just always is. It doesn't matter what pool you go to or where you're at, there's always one. And when you're swimming at home, how do you replace that? How do you, to make you feel like you're really getting that swimming, how do you replace the creepy older guy? What goes on with that?
Yeah, I just kind of, I become the creepy guy.
Perfect.
There's only me, and
Right,
so
I'm the creep.
I have to be everybody, basically.
Okay, you're the creep. All right, awesome. Well done. Well done. All right, what do we got next?
I'm looking to see
Is
if
there
we
any-
have
are there
any
any
questions.
So anyone who's checking in, always say hi. We want to know where you're from. Check in if you're a regular viewer. Check in, say hi. Specific questions, fire them away. It might take us, tonight to answer back on there. We will be with Ben for a while, so if you have a question specific to Mr. Ben Hoffman, 7-time Ironman champion, you can ask.
And 7 times 70.3.
7 and 7.
champion. Yeah.
7 and 7. I didn't know the second part.
That's okay. I forgive you.
Any questions that we need to address right now? Did it go to installation yet?
Yes, actually.
It always goes to
One
installation.
question is just, if I had to do maintenance, is it foam or is it installed all around the panels?
Okay.
If you have to do maintenance, you're gonna just need to open the panel behind where the hot tub seats are. That's where most of the maintenance is done.
They're asking about out-of-wall insulation now.
Oh,
So if what the question is asking is, are we using full foam insulation or are we using outer wall insulation? I don't know where you live. I can't see that on there, but outer wall insulation is a little thin. I don't know where you're from. Most places, no one will tell you that less insulation works better. The reason they won't tell you that is because it doesn't, and more is better. Now, that being said, polyurethane insulation is hard and unserviceable after the fact. Everything that we do is open cell icing. You can take your hands, dig through it. Every service job designed to be completed by one person, 1 hour or less. Okay? There's your answer. Next.
just go ahead and ask one of your questions, and there's a lot of comments here.
Definitely your turn next.
Okay. How are you using the H2X Challenger to train for Kona 2021?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. Obviously, for those people out there who maybe don't know, our race calendar has been thrown for a loop this year, just like a lot of things have been. Originally, Kona got postponed to February of 2021, and now it's looking like October, just a full year later than the original one was scheduled in 2021. So, yeah, I've got some time right now, and the main thing that I try to do when I have a long runway like this is to just really hone in once again on sort of the fundamentals, right? So I think the swim spa is a great environment where you can really just focus on all of that technique. And again, I have a set of mirrors that I put in the bottom. I'm able to get that instantaneous feedback. Occasionally I'll have Kelsey come out and film with a GoPro so I can go back and look at that footage.
Yeah.
It's a really, it's a controlled environment where it's easy to get all of those angles, as opposed to somebody walking down the pool or trying to be underwater and film you. You can really just stick it on the end of the pole, get all those angles, or from above as well. So yeah, I'm really just kind of using it right now to recognize that I have a really long runway into Kona next year, somewhere in the neighborhood of like 390 days probably right now until next year. But that is my number one goal, and I want to be as ready as possible. And historically, I've always had a little bit weaker left arm, and I don't have as high of a recovery on this side, so that's a real focus of mine right now. But yeah, I mean, I'm just basically making sure that I maintain really good feel in the water. I'm in it, anywhere from 3 to 4 times a week, doing longer aerobic swims that are technique focused.
And then just to kind of go along with what you just said, this is from Andrew T. Do you use any specific drills to help with your technique in the swim spot?
I do. That's a great question. I have a variety of drills that I really like. Specifically, what I was just talking about for the high arm recovery, I like to do what's called the zipper drill, where I drag my thumb across my body on the side, and I also really focus on that rotation when I'm on the side, trying to get both my body to turn, all the way on the side, and then also drag that thumb up against the side of the body. And then, of course, you can do fingertip drag as well on the surface of the water. That's a really good one to get that high elbow form. And then the other thing I do is a lot of one-arm swimming. So I'll keep one arm next to my body and then just swim on a slower speed, obviously. And I will go ahead and try to go ahead and just swim with that one arm. And I think that really hones in on rotation and getting a better feel for the water with the single arm. So that I use a lot.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just one other question that came up, and I'm kind of just adapted a little bit, but what swim toys do you use? I know you mentioned the snorkel, but what do you recommend? Paddles? Do you use a pull buoy?
Yeah, I actually recommend pretty much anything and everything. Being in the water is the key, and anything that'll get you in the water is a positive thing. So if you like to use the pull buoy and the paddles for strength work, I think that's really important, especially for triathletes out there. Having that extra strength component by using the paddles is key. I don't think that's necessarily a crutch to use a buoy, maybe not all the time. I also use an ankle band, which is kind of the opposite of that, which causes your legs to sink a little bit more, and you really have to focus on what we call pressing the T, which is this part of your body right here. You really need to work on pressing that down, which brings your legs up. So I use an ankle band, I use a pull buoy and paddles, and then I do use a snorkel as well, which I think is a great tool for anybody out there that can really help you focus on balancing that stroke out. So you don't have to focus on turning your head to breathe anymore. You can keep it straight and then just really focus on the other components of your stroke.
Did that help? We know that's better? All right, we added a microphone from the amazing Zach, and that should sound a little better. Is that working? Sounds better?
Now it's too loud.
No, it's
I know.
too loud. Like, quiet. Now everybody whisper.
It's really hard to look at the questions on the phone and focus here.
Well, he took our phone. He took our phone
We
away.
will try to get as many questions as we can while we're doing this, but if not, we'll go back and answer them after, like we always do. So
Okay.
I think it's your turn.
So this is an important one. Do you make strangers shower before getting into your swim spa?
We don't have that policy written anywhere. We're trusting that most of our friends are relatively clean to begin with. Maybe it's something we should consider instituting. I know it definitely helps from, a maintenance standpoint, just sort of an upkeep to rinse off before you jump into any pool. But that's not a written rule in the Hoffman residence. Fortunately, right now we don't have a ton of visitors, so it's not something we have to think too much about. But
And as a follow-up, do you often let strangers into your swim spa?
We actually don't.
These were all emailed in. These are the questions we get.
The funny thing is, though, I will say at the beginning of the pandemic, talking about that again, we had a few people reach out to us because they knew that we had the spa. And one of them was actually a high school kid that was trying to set his qualifying times in order to get a college scholarship. And, that's sort of something that really drove it home for me, just how much this has impacted everybody. Where, you think about these kids that are at a pivotal moment in their lives and maybe they didn't get an opportunity to do this sort of swim event that would have set them on a, trajectory of swimming in college and whatever else. So, that's kind of the thing that when you're talking about strangers, I know you're joking, but we tried to make accommodations for that. Fortunately, it's outside, so we were able to,
So you helped out?
Yeah, we tried to
others?
help out some other
That's
people.
cool.
And
That's really great of you.
I think it was something that, in the end, I'm not sure exactly what happened because I think none of those events really happened, and I think everyone's still kind of scrambling to figure it out. But in the short term, we tried to do what we could to help out.
We experienced
A lot.
March 15th, the phone started ringing, and it has never stopped. It's been just crazy.
Yep.
So it's for real. It's crazy. People are still scrambling to find proper swim, venues.
Yeah, and I just think that having the opportunity to, just like you said, in this time where pools were closed and events were canceled, just for athletes who that's their livelihood, being able to actually get in the water and swim was just kind of awesome. Just having, being able to have a swim spa in your yard or their yard was just a really freeing and relieving experience.
Yeah, exactly. As a professional athlete, I'm so trained to be, to have exercise be a component of my daily life. And what's cool is I think through all of this, we've seen sort of a surge in people getting into running, cycling, whatever it is, and swimming as well now. I think, it's a great release. It's a great stress reliever for everybody. There's nothing like being in the water, whether it's even just sitting there and letting the jets work on your shoulders and relaxing a little bit, or getting in a nice little swim.
So do you think your other pro friends are jealous of your Challenger? And if so, does that make you feel awesome?
I don't think they're jealous. I know they're jealous. And the reason I know that is because right off the bat, as soon as I posted anything on social media, I got hammered by people, that were like, oh, you're so lucky to have this thing. And it was pretty funny, actually. And they were like, oh, you're going to be first out of the water now. Like, we can't get in any pools. And, of course, the dynamic shifted a little bit now. But I still feel extremely fortunate to have this thing. And it's something that, is an indispensable tool in my arsenal. So, it's an awesome piece of equipment.
That's great.
Okay, so I'm looking at a question from Stephanie. I wonder if this is the same question. No, that's Nicole. Okay.
I had one from
So this
Steven?
kind of the same question. Steph, we have the same question sort of I'm about to ask or to discuss. So this came from Nicole in Oregon. Oregon?
That's how I say it.
All right. So must be right then. Would love to get an opinion on feel of Challenger jets compared to the propeller system in the Phelps. This is a two-part question. That's the first part.
Okay. Yeah, I don't actually have a ton of experience swimming in the Michael Phelps spas. I can just speak to the H2X Challenger, which I use all the time. It's a great, smooth, current that it provides, and it's easy channel to find the sweet spot and kind of stay in there and find a good rhythm. I have really actually pretty limited experience in the Phelps, but yeah, I've been super pleased with the with the Challenger, and I mean, I'm sure you can probably talk more about the differences and.
Basically, Nicole, and this is kind of Stephanie and Nicole. The main thing is going to be, historically a jetted swim spa wasn't, even in the running on the swim front of things.
Right.
And now the Challenger just changed everything, and the air has been removed out of there, and it's a super wide current, swims real well. It doesn't have that super high-end top speed the way that the Phelps does, but the swim current is really wide, it's really smooth, it's really wonderful. So the deciding factor ultimately boils down to the speed in which you swim. And the other thing that we encourage people to keep in mind is that if you're, people, adults, children never mess this up. This is fun. It's a true story. This is true. So kids, you can have a child get in a swim spa and say, stay right here, don't swim up past, turn it up, and they do exactly as they're told. An adult gets in a swim spa and you say, don't overswim, just relax and get the feel of the current, and they will immediately swim to the front over the top of the current, and they are incapable of listening. So the children are not, but their parents are. So it's always kind of funny to us, but what we want them to do is if you do have the opportunity to test one and swim in one, swim at that speed for 5 minutes, not 30 seconds, okay? Because you're gonna see that anyone can swim really fast for 30 seconds. We want you to go 5 minutes. The Challenger was designed for, the story was that we sort of needed something for our Ironman counterparts, our triathletes, and we needed something to go that long distance without a wall to turn around, and we needed that speed for, up to 2.5 miles, 2.4 miles. So that was the goal of the Challenger. So it really depends on what your goal is. If the goal is, long course swimming, exercise, fitness, and you don't need to swim faster than roughly 120 per 100, Challenger's awesome. Can't go wrong with it.
And just one of the questions that she asked was the difference between the propulsion and the airless, and that is that what Ben was saying is that with the Challenger, it's a 3-pump system, so it's a jet pump that's creating the current without air. And then in the Michael Phelps, it's actually a propeller that creates the current. So it's just a different vehicle for creating the current that you're swimming against, and the propeller is able to just push more water, and that's creating a faster swim pace. Right. Okay.
Okay. Second part of Nicole's question from Oregon is any thoughts on shoulder injury prevention with longer training sessions? So I'm sort of assuming that she might have, sometimes we read in between the lines, she may have something going on, and how do you prevent it in longer swim sessions?
Well, I mean, for sure, I'm not a physical therapist or a doctor, so, take everything I say with a grain of salt. I actually do have a PT that's on my team in Tucson, so, if I have an injury, I usually go to him to consult and figure out exactly what it is, and then obviously, create a strength program to get back from that. But on that note, I would say, not knowing exactly what you're dealing with, the shoulder is a super complicated joint, but one thing that I've found for sure, before you get in for a longer swim, some band activation can be really good. So get a set of stretch cords, or maybe get yourself some elastic bands and do some exercises that basically activate that shoulder and get it really firing. Sometimes if you jump straight into a swim without any kind of warm-up, you're just going to aggravate that more. So that would be my suggestion. And again, if it's something really serious, definitely, consult a professional and get that figured out, because once again, the shoulder's super complicated, and I know it can be painful if you've got something going on, but get some stretch cords, do some activation, and then hopefully that gets you back on track, build some extra strength.
Right on. Actually, as a point of interest, we were fortunate and lucky enough to go with Ben last year. It feels like it's been 5 years, but to Ironman Florida when he raced and just killed it. Yeah. And we actually watched him warm up prior to the swim with the stretch bands on the beach there on a very cold morning. So that's what.
Give my secrets away, man.
Sorry. So this is leadership by example, which is what we like here. So well done. All right, what do we got?
Couple of quick questions. Are you planning to race Ironman Coeur d'Alene?
That's a great question. I think Coeur d'Alene is back on the calendar for 2021, is what I understand.
I think so. I heard that too.
And I think it might have sold out for the age group crowd already, which is exciting, I think, for that community. It's a race that I've done twice in 2013 and 14 were the 2 years that I raced it. And if I'm not mistaken, I still have the course record. So now that I'm done bragging about myself, I'll answer your question. yeah, I actually don't know what I'm doing next year. I think we're all kind of in that boat right now. What the good news for me is that I have my qualification done early for Kona, so that kind of gives me the freedom to make choices. Also, as a professional, we're lucky in the sense that we don't really have to sign up for a race until about 3 weeks before. Obviously, I would make that decision earlier than that point, but it's definitely in the running. I love the North American races, and yeah, it might be on my calendar next year. We'll see.
Actually, so that kind of brings up a question. Favorite race of all time out of all of them, any distance?
That's a tough question, and it's almost impossible for me to say an absolute single favorite race. I mean, I think when it comes to just the race that gets me the most excited right now in my career, it's definitely Ironman Hawaii, the Kona World Championships, and that's just a variety of factors. I mean, I love Hawaii as a venue. I think it's extremely challenging, and then there's just so much history with it, obviously, and it really is the ultimate test. You get the best guys there every year, and girls as well, and everybody's ready to do battle. So, yeah, right now that's where my mind goes, is that race. But definitely some other races I love. Lake Placid's a great Ironman. Wisconsin is an amazing one in Madison. And then, of course, South Africa and Nelson Mandela Bay. There in Port Elizabeth is one of my all-time favorites. Not just because I've won it 3 times, but also because the community is incredibly supportive of the race, and it's just a beautiful venue. So those are some recommendations.
We're sure that winning it 3 times doesn't have any effect on your overall opinion of it.
Not one little bit, not at all.
Well done, by the way, on that. That's awesome. What do we got? Okay. You want to ask?
No, go ahead. You go.
Okay. So next question is, how do you use your swim spa? So forget training, forget Ironman, forget your job, you're a professional triathlete. Let's just talk fun and relaxation. What's your deal? What is your thing? How do you use it?
Yeah, so the funny thing is when we first got this spa, I think I only looked at it as a training tool.
Sure.
And I think my wife, Kelsey, who was extremely influential in getting me, to even look at this and to explore it as a possibility and to connect with master spas, I have to credit her a lot. But I think she was probably thinking more of this than I was. Even though she's a collegiate swimmer, it's not her favorite thing to do anymore. So. But we really just kind of, our relationship, funny enough, is sort of based around water. I met her swimming in the pool and hanging out in the hot tub after the swim practice and getting to know her there. But yeah, I mean, I think, we just love to go out there and hang out in it and use it, again, just for relaxation. And for now with our baby daughter, Josie, I mean, it's just a great place to go hang out. And especially in a place like Tucson, where it's, very arid and it's a desert, and just having water of any kind is kind of a simple pleasure and joy. We just love to go out there and hang out. And lately, when it's been really hot after a long run or something, I'll just jump in there to cool off, throw the jets on a little bit, float around on my back, just stare at the sky. There's something about water. It's just a special place to hang out and just relax. So
I think one of my favorite Instagram posts of yours is where you are like out in the float, just like hanging out in the Challenger. Like it's one of I show it to people all the time when they're like, "Can you just hang around in there?"
It's not always about the work. It's not always about the work.
Yeah.
It's okay to have fun in there too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially now.
I love to use the jets, for the hydrotherapy, muscle relaxation, and just hanging out and splashing around with Josie. It's she loves the water already, so it's just a great place for us to kind of connect as a family and just relax.
That's great.
Very cool. Very cool.
So kind of back to the recovery and training aspect of it, do you ever use the Challenger for running? And actually specifically, did you use the Challenger for running after your injury? I'm not sure that you had it that quickly after.
I didn't have it immediately after my injury in 2018. I assume that's what they're referencing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't use it for that, and I don't do any running in it, but I know that's something that you can do. You can get in there and do some sort of jogging in place, and I think that's a great thing to do. That resistance is pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean, at the moment I can't speak to that experience. I haven't done it myself, but maybe in the future.
I know we do in our Challenger, and it's actually fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
The soft tread is a must.
Yeah.
Yeah, the soft tread is a must on that. Otherwise, you have to wear rubber shoes, and it's a much easier with the soft tread, which can be added afterwards if you don't have it. So don't get mad.
This is from Leanne Loudon. Is there a specific temperature that works best for swimming and relaxation and even therapy? I know you talk about that sometimes.
Do you want to take this or you want me to take this?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of personal.
Yeah.
I would say I use my spa more for swimming. And for me, I like it on the cooler side, I would say, compared to maybe what's comfortable for other people, or
Like
what I've
me,
witnessed to
where
be
I'm like,
comfortable for
I
other
like
people.
What is your
89.
temperature?
I mean, typically, it depends, again, on the time of year. I think it's something that changes for sure throughout the year. But summertime, 78 to 80 degrees would be ideal. And then as I get a little bit more into the fall, low 80s maybe. But yeah, and then in the wintertime, maybe in my off season when I'm not really doing much training in any of the sports, we'll crank it up to more of like a hot tub temperature and kind of
Nice.
hang out in there. So,
Yeah.
So we'll give a little background. So on harder sets, cooler, 80-ish. When you start getting up into upper 80s, typically people feel more comfortable when you first jump in at 87, 88, which is hot for swimming. It's where we keep ours. We don't care. We're not jumping in cold water. No one's going to make us. And then at 92, 91 to 93 degrees is aquatic therapy rehab temperature. That's the temperature of the surface of your skin. And when you get above that, you get to that 97, 98, 99. And up range, you're in like full-on hot tub range. So those are the kind of set points as far as. But like Ben said, it's totally personal, and everybody sets their go-to temperature. That is freezing and sounds horrible. What else
It
we got?
does.
It sounds terrible.
So this was a question that came in ahead of time. How do I know what pace I'm swimming at? Is it just on feel, or can the pace be set? And that was from Stephen in New Brunswick, Canada. Do you have an answer for that, actually?
I mean, there is not a absolute clear
Right.
pace that's set, but yeah, I mean, for me, it comes down to RPE, basically rate of perceived exertion. And it is more of an estimation. When I'm doing those long continuous swims, one of the things too that I've been doing recently is I have like a heart rate monitor that I can basically track my heart rate data,
Right.
and I can compare that to pool sets that I've done, swims I've done that way, and I can get a pretty good estimate that way in terms of how hard I'm working from a heart rate standpoint. But in terms of a clear-cut number, no. But yeah, I have a pretty good idea.
Do you ever use stroke count, like compared to what you know your stroke count is per 100 in the pool versus in the swim
That's
spa?
another way that you could measure it as well. That's not something that I necessarily
Okay.
do, but yeah, definitely a possibility.
Sure.
Okay.
And just, we've talked about this before. We do use
settings,
the Garmin watch on open water swimming, and just like you said, it's not exact.
If you're outside, turn the GPS off. Otherwise, it won't work correctly. Turn GPS off, open water swim, and then it will count your strokes and give you an idea. And just keep in mind, it's not correct, but it's consistently not correct. So if you went
Right.
further, went longer, went faster, it would show that. But just keep in mind, it's not your swim speed.
Yeah, it's not perfect,
No.
but if you're using it consistently,
Right,
you can
right.
get a pretty
It
good
gives you
estimate.
some kind of an idea. Right.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got? How we doing?
Good, and I think that was the end of our questions. Really quick, we'll see if we have any on here.
We'll take a peek. Checking for questions.
There's so many people watching, so you get the notification that people are watching with you, so we're trying to just read through to get the questions.
I will say, usually it's just us and we have no backup,
Right.
and we're in a warehouse, and we're reading the questions on the same phone that we're filming the live from, so we can't scroll up. It won't let you scroll up. So this is actually kind of nice. Is that it? Is that all
I
we
think
got?
that was. If we missed any, obviously we'll go back to them later. But
Okay, so a couple of I always say house cleaning.
Housekeeping?
Housekeeping. I always say house cleaning. Housekeeping. So we are lead times. Obviously, been challenging during the pandemic. We are cranking. We are ready to nail this, and you're going to see some great things. The next year is going to be amazing. Lots of good things going on. Really.
Yeah.
So we're excited. Very excited about the next year, and we're going to change the face of swim spas yet again.
and
Remember
we
I
just
said that.
really appreciate having Ben here today, and it was just really special. And it's been a treat spending the day with you, and just having you on our Facebook Live. So thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
My pleasure.
Thank you for
Yeah,
coming.
it's been awesome to be here and to connect with everybody. And see firsthand exactly, what happens at master spas and how it's all produced from start to finish, the people that go into it, and the product's obviously incredible stuff. Super proud to be part of the brand.
Awesome.
We're proud to have you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming. So everyone, if you have any questions, pop them on there. If we missed them, we'll be on there tonight. We'll get back on there. We'll answer your questions. You can send messages in. Just so you know, if anyone has sent something and we didn't answer, a lot come in at the same time, and it just acts funny. Sometimes we miss them. So just give us a bump again if we don't answer in a day or so, and we'll get to you. And if you send it into the Master Spas Facebook page and don't say who you're specifically asking, also challenging for us to figure out who you're asking. So put a name on there. Everyone log in, tell us where you're from. We want to know all that stuff. Say hi. Thanks for coming.
And then we'll be back to normal Facebook Live schedule in 2 weeks on Wednesday, October 7th. So we will see you all then.
We'll see you then. Thanks for swinging in.
Good night.